In this video, we'll look at a nature of roots question that's about as beastly as they come. And so I hope you appreciate the complexity of it and hopefully the simplicity of the steps that we just followed to get through it. So the first step when we've got complicated nature of roots questions is that we want to times everything out. And so if I times the LCD across here, I'll end up with 4x squared k minus 2xk plus k. And then step 2, I want to take everything to one side, and so I'll get 4x squared, and then to save time and simplicity for my mind, I'm going to take them across, but I'll put the x squared term next to this x squared term. Then it was 2x. I'm going to put the x term next to it, and then it was 1, and I'm going to bring the k across. So in one step I've taken it across, but I've also simplified it for myself, because step 3 I take out just an x squared, not the 4x squared. I just take out an x squared, and that's what I'm left with in brackets. I take out just the x and resist temptation to take out more than that. And the leftovers without x will all be our c. So here's our a, this bracket's our b, this bracket's our c. And that's what makes this question a little bit complicated, because it's got quite a lot going for each of them. Then they say for which values will it be real, and so real means that the nature of roots, the discriminant, will be bigger than or equal to 0, and so it will be b squared minus 4ac must be bigger than or equal to 0. B squared minus 4ac must be bigger than or equal to 0. This would leave me with 4 plus 8k plus 4k squared. This I'm going to be safe and just times the bracket out first, but keep it in a big bracket. This will be 4 minus 4k minus another 4k, so minus 8k plus 4k squared. Now let me times in the bracket. So this will be minus 16 plus 32k minus 16k squared. That leaves me with my k squareds. I've got minus 12k squared. My k's, I've got 40. And my numbers, I've got minus 12. So what you can do from here is either you could try to simplify this. You could divide this all by 4, by negative 4, and then you must remember to change the direction of the inequality, or you could simply move all of these to the other side and keep the inequality facing the way it is and divide by 4. Just for the interest of trying something different and using extra knowledge, let's divide all the terms by negative 4. So this will become 3k squared minus 10k plus 3, but we must remember that we change the way that the inequality faces. This is going to use extra knowledge now of inequalities, and so whenever I've got an inequality, I know that I must always draw a number line. And so I factorize this, and I get 3k and k. It ends in a plus, so the signs will be the same as the middle term, and I get 1 and 3. The answer that comes out of here is positive 3. The answer that comes out of here is 1 over 3. Be careful. What a lot of people do is they just take this bracket, make it less than 0, and this bracket, and make it less than or equal to 0 and take things across. You can't do that. You've got to think of it as a parabola. And so the answer that comes out of here is 3, so that must be there. The answer that comes out of here is a third. If I think of this like a parabola from here, it's a positive one, so it's a happy parabola. And I'm looking where the stuff is less than or equal to 0. In other words, below the line. And so how do I write that little region? It's from there until there. And that's my final answer. And so you've learned a really complicated nature of roots question. You've had brackets all over the place to have to carefully times out without making mistakes along the way. You've learned the trick of dividing by negative in inequalities means you change the way it faces. And you've learned or remembered when I'm trying to get to my final answer with quadratic inequalities, I need to draw a rough picture of a parabola to help me solve it. And so I hope that you enjoyed and appreciated all the goodness that came through that video. If you did, please like it, subscribe to our channel, and share it with a friend. Thanks.